What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Realistic Room with Wrexham. This is episode number 25, and we're settling into League One nicely now with the Welsh side. We've won our last two league games away at Derby, a 1-0 win, and then a home to Exeter as well. We did crash out of the Carabao Cup at the hands to League Two Sutton, but you would have seen watching that episode, I rotated the squad massively. That cup is not a priority for me at all. The league is my focus, so not the end of the world that we went out of that competition. In today's episode, you'll see us face Burton, Portsmouth, and Bristol Rovers. The Bristol Rovers game is the EFL Trophy, Burton and Portsmouth in the league. Taking on the Brewers, and they are one of two sides that are still unbeaten in the league. Rotherham, who are top, are unbeaten, and then Burton, who have only won 2 of their opening 7 games, but they drew the other 5, so proving difficult to beat, and they have won 2 of their last 4 as well, so this won't be an easy game by any means, and I'm hoping that we can improve our home form. We did win our last home league game against Exeter, so let's see if we can make it 3 wins on the bounce. Well, we would have to heavily rotate the side with the fact that this is a midweek game, so we were changing up the formation, playing a 4-3-1-2, and I'll be honest, it just didn't really work for me. Burton took an early lead and they just never really looked back. The Brewers were just dominant in this first half. Nathan Lloyd in the goal was getting tested left, right and centre, having to make saves, keeping us in the game. I was actually quite disappointed with the goal the visitors did score. Just smashed it in the near post, Lloyd diving the wrong way. And then at halftime we changed to a 4-2-2. We bring on Elliot Lee and have him and Pritchard as the cams, and then Bradshaw and Mullin up top. So just adding more attacking prowess up top. But it didn't really seem to work. Burton continued where they left off in the first half, actually hitting the post here with a decent strike. Paul Mullin with probably our best chance of the game, our closest chance of the game, that's for sure. His curling effort just goes wide of the far corner. We had a free kick in injury time, but it was in that difficult position where it's too far to shoot, but then it's also too central to cross it in. I tried to build up something, didn't really work out, and that pretty much sums up our game. Burton take this one 1-0. They remain undefeated, and that's 3 wins and 5 draws for them to start off their season. It's another defeat for us, though. First in 3 games, but unfortunately it is defeat, and we're having to look to bounce back now. But overall, the fact that we're sort of mid-table, it's still early doors. I'm not too fussed. When you come up into a league, like we said in season 1, it was our first season in League 2. I would have been happy with just staying up, but obviously with the board's high expectations, they want us to always strive for greatness. So they want us to chase promotion this year, which I think potentially we could do. We'll see. Anyway, Aaron Hayden comes to us. It's a bit of a weird one. He was saying that he's been reading about stuff in the papers and a bit worried about his position. Hayden's he's my captain, so I'm not really sure what that was about. Anyway, we reassure him that he is our starting centre-back for now and for the future. As Luke Young's transfer to Rotherham is confirmed, he'll be moving in January, so a nice little bit of cash coming our way as we head into what will be the second game of the episode. But before then, let's have a look at the objectives. And, well, it's a complete polar opposite to last season, where the board were not happy with us the entire season. Their confidence rating currently is 94. They are very happy with what we're doing with the club, which is it's a relief, because I really thought I was going to get sacked at the end of the last season. So I'm glad we didn't. And they seem to be happy with the job we're doing now. But yes, anyway, on to the second game, and it's second away day in a row where it's a really historic club with a historic ground. Portsmouth and Fratton Park. They were a constant side in the Premier League back in between early 2006-7 for a few years. They won the FA Cup under Harry Redknapp. Iconic side, iconic stadium. Now back in League One, but in real life, actually, Pompey are unbeaten still. They're flying high in League One. That they're one of those sides that I kind of root for. I'd love to see them back in the Premier League, but obviously one step at a time. Hopefully they go back to the Championship. In this game, though, I wish that we would beat them. And do you know what? After Portsmouth's strong first 10-15 minutes, we really settled into this one. Really calmed down the crowds, and we actually took a foothold in this game. Alex Pritchard hit the bar not once but twice, and I'm pretty sure it was the same spot he hit as well. And then into the second half, Bennett plays it to Pritchard, who actually won the ball back and started this counter-attack. He finds Mullin, and Paul Mullin bags the opening goal at Fratton Park, celebrates in front of those away fans, and that is now 6 league goals in 9 for PM10. Nice counter-attack. Like I said, Pritchard won the ball back, played it out wide to Bennett, and Bennett back to Pritchard into Mullin. This was basically back to our regular 11, back to the 4-2-3-1 as well, which we've grown, pretty comfortable with in that formation. So I felt a lot more comfortable in this side that we were playing today. I think it's just depth. Maybe we're struggling, but there's so many fixtures in the EFL calendar that you have to rotate a lot, and I think that's where we're struggling, is to find that rotation to have the quality and depth. But our regular 11 is a strong 11. There is no doubt about that. Well, half an hour to go, and the home side would win a corner. A corner swung in, it's headed out but not cleared, and then good shot in there, but Nathan Lloyd with the save as Portsmouth are pushing for this equaliser. Second corner comes in, headed out, but again they get to the first ball, and then a good chance for Pompey actually. Colby Bishop with the chance, but Aaron Hayden, what a block that was from the captain, and we would actually see this one out. So we respond to the Burton loss with a 1-0 victory away at Fratton Park, a big victory. And we spoke about in the last episode how the Derby win at Pride Park was probably our most impressive win, I want to say, in this career mode so far. This one is level with it. Portsmouth came out flying in the first 10-15 minutes. They were suffocating my team anytime we had the ball, but we really adapted to the game, and we really took the game by the scruff of the neck, and actually were the dominant side for most of that game. Got the goal when we were on top and see it out. So that's back-to-back away league wins, back-to-back clean sheets as well for Nathan Lloyd. And the board wanted us to win 5 away games this season. I think we've already won 3 or 4. I think that's our third, actually. So we're doing well already. Unbeaten away from home on the road as well. So good to see that we're strong on the road. I'm loving that. As before we head into the third and final game of the episode, we are going to look at some player contracts. We have a whole host of players whose contracts are running out at the end of the season. Players who I might be happy to leave on a free. Players who have already agreed to leave in January. Players who are retiring. But there are a core group of players who I want to keep here for after this season. And we actually don't have too much budget left. So some decisions are going to have to be made. Some priorities are going to have to be set. But we do give some new deals. Firstly, we sit down with Aaron Hayden, who maybe this is partly why he was getting a bit anxious with us about his position, the fact that his contract was running out and we hadn't renewed it. Well, we are going to sit down with the captain now. Still 27 years old, so coming into the peak as a centre-back, I think he's been quality since he came into that centre-back role and that captaincy role about halfway through last season, taking the captaincy from Tozer, and he just made that position his own. He was fantastic, and we give the captain a 2-year extension. We increase his wage as well because I want it to be realistic as well, and I'll increase the wages even though we are struggling for a budget. I'm not going to downgrade anyone's wages. I will increase them. The second player who I gave a contract extension to was George Evans, who for me is one of my crucial players. In that midfield, he is key, especially now we play a deeper 2. His ball-winning skills are fantastic. I love Evans, so happy to give him a 2-year extension. Again, we increase his wage and we give him a little sign-on bonus. We then sit down with Elliot Lee, who gets a 2-year extension and a wage increase as well as a bonus. Lee, again, is another critical player for us. And then the fourth and final player we sit down with for now is Jacob Mendy, who, despite his rating of 64, of only 64, he's been fantastic for us, and he's a great attacking outlet as well as defensive. His stamina and his pace are just incredible. So glad to tie those 4 down with contracts. We'll try and get a couple more signed up before the end of the season, ideally. But I think we are going to have to let a couple go. I might have to try and sell a couple in January if we can. Anyway, heading into the third and final game of the episode, it is Bristol Rovers in the EFL Trophy. You would have seen the team there, big rotations because this is not a priority for me. Again, the league is my focus. The second episode in a row, actually, we're rounding off our third game with Bristol Rovers. We drew 1-1 with them away in the league, which is actually the only away league game we haven't won so far. So Feeling pretty decent about this one, considering they are just above the drop zone as well. They are struggling, but like I said, heavily rotated side, not my focus. They lost to Blackpool in this group. It's obviously groups of three. They lost to Blackpool in their opening game. This is our opening game now, and then we'll play Blackpool in a couple episodes' time. Well, Rovers would take the lead through a deserved goal. Collins giving the hosts that early breakthrough. They were dominant in the first half, and they made it 2-0 as well. Vale, the goal scorer. And then on the stroke of half time, Ollie Palmer, the apparently absolute pace merchant, is put through on goal by Elliot Lee, and Palmer halves the deficit, and all of a sudden, we're potentially in this game. Who knows? Well, into the second half, and Lee Morris, who was given a rare start, he is put through on goal. He opts to square it, but it is blocked. From the resulting corner, though, Elliot Lee swings the ball in, and who's there? Big man Palmer gets his and our second goal of the game, and we've come from 2-0 down, and we're now tied 2-2. Could we go on and win this game? Potentially. Like I said, plenty of changes. Palmer getting his first minutes of the season, along with Ford and Bryn Lloyd in goal, who is actually making his senior debut for the club, the youth academy graduate who came up with his brother. And then there were some rare starts for Jones and Lee Morris as well. Well, in injury time, there was a slight chance for an equaliser, but the shot was shanked wide. To be honest, I probably didn't deserve it. Bristol Rovers, it was a sort of a tale of two halves. Bristol Rovers much better in the first half. We grew into the second half, actually. I was really impressed with how we came back into this game. With the rotated side and the fact that we were 2-0 down, I thought that would be it. But fair play to the lads. They've responded well. Ollie Palmer, who will be retiring at the end of the season, bags a brace. And we have a point going into the final group game against Blackpool, which, like I said, you'll see in a couple episodes' time. But that is it for today's episode, episode 25. We're already a quarter of a way to the century mark in this series, and I'm feeling pretty happy with how we're settling in now into League One. A little bit of a ropey start, not even that crazy much, but we're starting now to win some games. I think our away form is a lot better than our home form. We're unbeaten away from home in the league, winning 3 of 4. I just need us to shore it up a little bit at the racecourse, but overall sat in 10th after 9 games, 14 points. We're just outside the playoffs. It's very early days yet, but I'm happy with how we're going. If you're enjoying the series, drop a like. Don't forget to check out the Patreon as well. Plenty of cool exclusive bits of content that you can unlock. And of course, you can get the YouTube series, any YouTube video a day earlier. So if you want to watch, if you want to be the first to see what's happening next in the realistic career mode, head over to Patreon and you'll be able to see the episodes a day early. The link's in the bio. Don't forget to drop a sub on the channel if you haven't already. We're on the road to 500 subs, and I'll see you in episode 26 very soon.